What is up, everybody? Welcome to the dungeon. I'm about to do your Zodiac Tarot readings for the next week. Keep in mind, these readings are general and they may not resonate with everybody. I will be pulling one card for the overall energy of the week, and then I will pull another card for the general love energy, because everybody wants to know about love, but not everybody has love in their life, right? So let's go ahead and get started with my Aries. Let's see what's going on with Aries over the next week. What kind of energy will Aries encounter over the next week? What is going on with Aries? See what is going on with Aries over the next week. Aries, you have the Two of Pentacles. So with the Two of Pentacles, you may have a few different options that you have been weighing. You're pretty confused, not entirely sure which way to go. There seem to be good opportunities or good things that can come out of either decision. So you're just kind of weighing your options to figure out which is going to work out the best for you. In some cases, this indecision could become problematic, and when I say that, I mean, it's just you're so indecisive, and you may be coming up to a time limit of some sort, and you're just really having a hard time meeting that deadline because you're so caught up in your indecision, trying to, is it this or this? Is it this or this? So just be careful, because you could end up missing your opportunity if you get too caught up in just weighing all your options. All right, let's see what is going on in Aries' love life. What is going on in Aries' love life over the next week? What will Aries encounter in their love life over the next week? Aries, we have the Five of Pentacles. So you may be feeling left out. If you are in a committed relation, perhaps you're not able to be with them for whatever reason, or maybe you just feel very distant and like they are going on and living life and almost acting as if you don't exist. Some of you may be feeling taken advantage of. I am thinking of a situation in which, like say, in a relationship, like say if you're living together, this is a situation that is equal to one partner working and then going out and doing whatever when they're not working, and rinse, wash, repeat. And then the whole time they have their partner sitting at home, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, be them babies or fur babies, actual people or fur babies, taking care of all the responsibilities while your partner is going out and doing whatever. It may make you feel extremely left out, and you're like, okay, they're always gone. You're lonely. So even if you are in a relationship, you may be feeling lonely. If you are dating someone, you may be starting to feel a little bit rejected, like maybe they're starting to lose interest in conversation and whatnot, and you're considering just kind of walking away from the situation. Those of you who are straight up single and not seeing anybody, you may be getting really caught up in being single. This could be leading you kind of to a you may be feeling a little bit better. Like you'll see other people in relationships and it'll make you just be like, wow, you know, because you don't have that. You know, you're like acting severely annoyed, like, oh my gosh, so many couples, why are they always doing blah, blah, blah. But really, it's because you have never been involved in a relationship like that. And so, in a sense, it's kind of like a jealous energy. It's because you don't have it and you haven't had it. And so if you see other people with it, it just makes you feel grumpy and grumbly. But mostly sad. Like you may be trying not to be sad, which is why it comes out in a grumpy and grumbly way. So it may not even necessarily be you're bitter, you're just trying not to be sad. Okay. Let's move on to Taurus. What is going on with Taurus over the next week? What kind of energy will Taurus encounter? What is going on with Taurus over the next week? What kind of energy will Taurus encounter over the next week? Of course, you have the Knight of Swords, so it may be a very stressful week. If your external circumstances aren't stressful internally, you're having a very difficult time. There's a lot of stuff on your mind. Some of you may be feeling extremely overstimulated, so if anybody just kind of like says or does the wrong thing, you might just spaz out just because you have a lot going on inside your mind and it's got your nerves rattled, and then something may happen external to you that just like triggers you into a meltdown. Some of you need this. Some of you need to have a really good cry. Do not underestimate the benefits of having a really, really good cry. Some of you may need to kind of take some time to yourself so you can work through these feelings, because you will have people that are inquiring, possibly even attempting to make you feel better. And you may be one of those people where you just need space to work through things. You need space to feel this way. Like you don't want to feel bad for feeling bad. So you may be kind of isolating yourself a bit, which could be concerning to some people. But it's just something you need to do to work through things. It could be beneficial for you to journal or to potentially see a therapist. I know I kind of just said something about keeping to yourself, and then I'm saying see a therapist. The point of really seeing a therapist is to help you work through your emotions. So you're still working through your emotions. It's just a little bit different than if you were talking to a friend or a family member. You're getting a perspective from somebody who has been taught how to deal with certain thought processes in a healthy manner. But even then, you may be reluctant to deal with them too. Like you might know that you need to talk to them, but you don't want to talk to them, You got a lot on your mind, but I think some of you will be able to transmute this energy into something productive. So let's see what's going on in your love life. What is going on in Aries' love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Aries encounter in their love life over the next week? What is going on? Did I say Aries? I mean Taurus. What is going on in Taurus' love life? What is going on in Taurus' love life over the next week? Taurus, you have the Hierophant. So some of you may be involved in a commitment. The things haven't been great, you know, in your relationship. They haven't been the best lately, and you may be concerned about the status and where you're going. Some of you may be trying to seek guidance, which is contradictory to what I just said, but this is more so guidance from within. Thus, the whole kind of keeping to yourself situation, that's going to allow you to hear that guidance, receive it. Because it's hard enough as it is with all the chaos that's going on inside your mind, but then when other people put their chaos perspective into it, it can make it even harder for you. So you're just trying to really focus on your partner and in your family, because there's a lot of drama going on there. If you are dating somebody, you may be thinking about seriously committing to this relationship, maybe taking it to the next level, but you could be feeling extremely insecure about this right now. Just worried about rejection, you know, worried you won't, they're not feeling the same way. And there are those of you who are single, not dating, and you know, it's bothering you. It's bothering you because you would like to have this. You would like to have a stable and committed relationship. You would like to, you know, get married or have children or fur babies, you know, just like have a family together. You want that, but you don't have it. And it's really bothering you. You may be feeling very insecure about this. Like, oh, I'll never have that kind of love. You know, you may be having a bit of a pity party over this. Go through your emotions, work through them. They're valid. They're valid to a certain extent. If it shifts to the point of self-deprecation, that's where you need to stop yourself and rewind and erase that comment from your mind. Delete, you know. You have to actively, some of you may have to actively fight against self-deprecation, because, I don't know, you just feel bad, like, you feel like nobody will ever love you, and that's not really the case. But, you know, there's that saying, a watched pot never boils, you know. Quit watching the pot. If anything, look at yourself. Work on yourself, show yourself some love. You need to be good to have a good relationship. Like, you don't have to be 100% healed or 100% stable or anything like that, but you do need to be in a good place mentally. I think a lot of times people expect a partner to fix them, and that can be problematic. Okay, let's see what's going on in Gemini's world over the next week. What kind of energy will Gemini encounter over the next week? What is going on with my Geminis? What's going on with Gemini over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? Okay, Gemini, you have the King of Swords. So you may be a bit more cold than usual. You may even be snapping on a few people, but not necessarily an emotional way, because you are detached. I think you are just saying some really harsh things, just because you actually may be trying to manipulate a situation to your advantage, being very strategic about this. This could be good or bad considering on the circumstance, but you're kind of in a position where you don't really care how this affects other people. You're about you. It sounds really harsh. And it does. It sounds really, really harsh. And I think really it all comes down to intention. You know, it's good to focus on yourself, to detach from how other people feel, and not let the way they feel affect what you got going on, especially if that's something that you have fallen prey to for a very long time. But this can also be a very negative thing if you are in a situation where you are manipulating other people, and you don't care how the words you say affect them, because you're just trying to get what you want out of the situation. You're a good talker, Gemini, which Geminis are talkers in general, and they talk in circles in general, and I feel like this is kind of the energy that the King of Swords is carrying right now. You will be having a conversation, and then you'll take it in different directions, kind of to, I don't know, kind of test the people around you. I guess you could see where they are mentally, and see what you can get away with. Gemini, why are you being trifling this month or this week? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Some of you are just extremely focused on taking care of your goals in your life, achieving your goals in your life, and you're not going to let any other people distract you. You're not going to let their feelings distract you. You are even on a mission not to let your own feelings distract you. So that's kind of where you're at right now. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Gemini. Gemini, you have the Four of Cups here. So you may be feeling deep sadness, a sense of loss, possibly even some regret. You may feel as if you have missed out on a situation. Perhaps this was, one of those people that you didn't see how important they were to you until they were gone, and now you do, and you're kind of like, oh, the one that got away or whatever. If you are in a committed relationship, you may be dealing with some depression, some sadness right now, and it's not really something your partner can do anything about. Like, your partner may be trying to do something about it, but their efforts are futile. This is something that you've got to deal with and you've got to work through on your own. Try to communicate that to your partner, because you may come off cold, but it's because you're detaching from your emotions because you don't like the way you feel. But you still need to deal with these emotions. And so you may be kind of withdrawing. Like, there's not, basically, again, if your partner or whoever you're seeing is trying to do something to make you happier or feel good and whatnot, it's just not going to work out well because you're in this funk. You got a lot on your mind, and a lot of it they can't do anything about. Some of you may be so hung up on things that have happened in the past that you are not seeing what's in front of you. Like, you could have somebody in front of you that is a really good person, would be a really good partner, but you are not seeing or appreciate them because you're caught up in your sadness, whatever that sadness may be related to. Potentially even apathy, like you don't care. Those of you who are single, it's like you don't even really care that you're single. It doesn't bother you because right now you got this shit you're dealing with, and you don't really want to have to answer to anybody. You don't want to have to deal with that person who's trying to make you feel better, but you don't really want them to try to make you feel better because you're kind of working through things on your own, and if anything, it makes you feel bad about feeling bad. So you may be totally okay without having a partner or somebody to quote-unquote answer to. You know, you just very unhappy with your love life, really, and trying to focus on getting your life together. Let's move on to Cancer. See what's going on with Cancer over the next week. What kind of energy will Cancer encounter over the next week? What is going on with my Cancers? With Cancer over the next week. Cancer, you have the Knight of Swords, so you got a lot on your mind too. Everybody's got a lot on their mind. You're stressing out. You may be having a very difficult time right now. You may be having a little meltdown, a little breakdown. You need to have a good cry. If you're not already having a good cry, stay hydrated. Seriously though, I'm joking, but I'm serious at the same time, because some of you may not drink enough water. If you're crying a lot, but you're not drinking enough water, you're going to end up dehydrated. So stay hydrated. Drink some water, okay? But some of you are going to be, you're feeling very frazzled. You have a lot of stuff you're dealing with. It is stressing you out. It's driving you crazy. You don't know where to start to address things. You're trying to create a game plan, but it may be hard for you to stick to it because you got all this stuff going on inside your mind. It kind of derails you and distracts you from what you're trying to achieve. So you may be actively battling against this. You may also have to actively battle against shit ruining your day. So, like, say if one thing bad happens, first thing in the morning, don't let it ruin your day. If that thing is compounded by another thing, which compounded by another thing, and another thing, like, all within the same hour, like, it would be very easy to just be like, today fucking sucks. Like, you know, but it's still early. You know, it's still early in the day, and you're not seeing how the rest of the day will go. So it would be helpful to actively fight against the thoughts that this is a horrible day. My day is ruined because something bad happened. Try to make it a good one anyways. Try to make something good out of it. Even if the whole day is full of drama and whatnot, still try to find that silver lining, the sprinkles on top of the shit cupcake. They're there. It's just a matter of whether or not you can see them through the drama and the chaos and the heartache that you may be dealing with. You may be having a hard time sleeping. It could be beneficial to write these things out of you. You just got a lot on your mind. It's hard to deal with. It really is. But you're going to get through it. You just got to learn to deal with it in a healthy way. To channel this energy into something productive. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Cancer. What is going on in Cancer's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Cancer encounter over the next week? Cancer, we have the Three of Wands in regards to your love life. So there could be some difficult conversations going on between you and your partner. Perhaps you guys have entered a phase where you're not really making much progress or moving forward much. Things are off. You know, you have this very stressed out and anxious energy here, and if it's not rooted in what's going on in your relationship, it's definitely affecting it. It's affecting the communication, and stunting the growth of the relationship. Some of you who are dating, and even those who may be committed, you may be waiting to hear back a response from whomever you are interacting with. There's some sort of information, like you cannot move forward until you receive this information. So until you find something out, like you can't decide, like say if you're single, until you find out whether or not something's going to happen with one person, you can't really move forward with another. Granted, technically you can, but ethically it'd probably be a good idea to clear out, you know, one thing before you bring in another. Otherwise, it's just going to compound this Nine of Swords energy. You're just going to have more drama to work through inside your mind, and it's going to be difficult enough to deal with as it is. Those of you who are straight up single, you know, there are some things that you're supposed to be learning from this experience. Learning to be okay being alone. There are a lot of things going on around you that you're not appreciating or you're not seeing because you're so caught up inside your mind, what's going on inside your mind. There's really no way you could really connect with somebody right now because this is all you're consumed with. This is all you're consumed with right now, and it's not something other people can do anything about. So you may be just kind of not really talking to very many people, not trying to create a connection with somebody. You're just working on your emotions. And honestly, that's a healthy thing to do if you are single and you don't have anybody that you're dating and you're dealing with this energy. It's good to work on yourself. It's healthy. It's healthy to get to a more stable state of mind before you move forward in that direction. It's a sign of emotional intelligence, which many people lack today. But some are starting to learn. Okay, let's see what's going on with my Leos. What is going on with Leo over the next week? What kind of energy will Leo encounter? For some reason, I always lean to the left when I shuffle. I don't know why, but I'm sure it can't be good for my back. Okay, what's going on with Leo over the next week? What kind of energy will Leo encounter over the next week? What's going on with Leo? Leo, you have King of Wands energy, very fiery, very fiery. Also pretty stubborn. Nobody can tell you anything unless you already know it. It's your way or the highway, isn't it, Leo? It is. Right now, you know, you may have some goals. There's some things that you are actively working towards. You have a game plan in mind. You are abiding by it, and you are strict on anybody who's involved with it. A little bossy, potentially annoying to the people who are involved in this situation, but you know what? They cannot deny that you get shit done. They can't, and that's why if they are annoying, there's really not much they're going to say about it because you get shit done. Like, you handle business, so it's like, you know, some of the things you do to handle business lead you to behaving like this. Like, it may be an energy that you need to carry to handle things. That way nobody will push you around. you know where you stand. There are situations, like say if there's a potential work situation you may be involved in, signing a contract of some sort, you want to make sure that you are taken care of properly and that nobody takes advantage of you. You're going to be trying to look at the fine print. You want to make sure that you are not going to get the raw end of the deal. You're not going to get the short end of the stick. You're going to get what you deserve from this situation. Or else you will feel the wrath of the lion. Or they won't. They'll feel the wrath. You'll feel the energy of the wrath, but they'll feel the wrath. Try not to be too rigid, because it could be detrimental. Like, yes, it is so important to stand your ground and whatnot, but to a certain extent, sometimes there needs to be a little bit of compromise. A little bit, without compromising your integrity. Damn. That's what you got to keep in mind right there. How can you compromise in this situation without compromising your integrity and or your goals? Okay. So let's see what's going on in your love life, Leo. What is going on in Leo's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Leo encounter in their love life over the next week? Leo, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So I don't know, you're at a major turning point in your relationship. If you are committed, it's kind of a make or break moment. You and your partner are either going to be closer together as a result of what's going on, or it's going to be decided that you no longer need to be together. Those of you who are dating, it's not, you're not trying to do anything serious right now. I don't think you're really trying to do anything serious right now, but something could occur that really changes your perspective on things. Perhaps you meet somebody that you unexpectedly connect with. Perhaps you've been careless and are going to find out that you have conceived. There's definitely going to be some information that comes through in regards to the person that you are either committed to or seeing, and it's going to take the relationship in a different direction, be it closer together or further apart. Those of you who are single, you are entering into a new season in your love life where you are more confident in who you are. You're more confident in yourself, and you're confident in being single. You don't feel like it's a bad thing. Yes, you do enjoy attention, but it's not necessary. Like, you feel good on your own. You feel confident on your own. You feel like you can handle business on your own. You're giving yourself the attention that you deserve. And that's really good, because you are less prone to fall victim to manipulation, from people, complimenting you and lavishing all this affection on you and whatnot. There are definitely big changes going on in the way you see things in regards to your love life. I feel like these reads have been going a little bit faster than usual. All right. Let's see what's going on with Virgo. What is going on with Virgo over the next week? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter? What is going on with Virgo? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter over the next week? Virgo, you have the Six of Wands. So you may be getting recognition for all the work you've been doing. You may have been fighting hard to achieve something, and you're finally going to see some results of what you have been working towards. People are going to start paying attention to you, paying more attention to what it is that you're doing, and they're going to pay more attention to your opinion, which is very satisfying to you, because I feel like you have felt taken advantage of. Just kind of thinking about the past few readings, I feel like you have been being taken advantage of, and you're starting to fight for yourself, and you will find success. You will find success through speaking up for yourself. It may not be in the way you hope. It may not be as quickly as you would like, but it will happen. Like, say if this is an occupational situation where things have just not been good for a really long time, and you finally discuss it with whomever, maybe the discussion doesn't go over well. Maybe they let you go. But this is going to lead you to a place where you are more appreciated. You get what you deserve. You get what you want. So it's still a win. That's worst case scenario. That's worst case scenario, because you could go to them, talk to them, and get that recognition, get that raise, get whatever it is that you need. So, but either way, sticking up for yourself is going to get you what you want, whether it looks that way or not. Let's see what is going on in your love life, Virgo. What's going on in Virgo's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter in their love life over the next week? What's going on with my Virgos? Virgo, you have the Ten of Cups. So things could be going very, very good in your love life. If you're already in a committed relationship, you could be entering an extremely happy period and phase. Everybody's happy. Everybody's getting what they want. You're getting what you want, and you are being understood. You're feeling good. If you are single and you've been seeing multiple people, dating multiple people, it's getting a lot of attention, and it's time to decide what and or who you want moving forward. And I'd say that's relevant to those who are single and have no interests. It's very important to know what you want moving forward in a relationship, so you know what you don't want. That way, when stuff starts happening that you don't want, you know to remove yourself from the situation. So definitely take that time to understand what it is that you would like to have, what you feel would lead to a successful and happy relationship. Because that looks different for everybody. It looks different for so many people. Like, Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, they talk mad shit to each other, like, constantly. But they were madly in love as well. And other people, like, I'd have a problem with somebody talking to me like that all the time. Like, I'm just saying. All the time. I'm too sensitive for that mess. But that's just, in general, that's an example of how, like, things work different dynamics. People want different things. They have different love styles, and you need to be aware of yours in order to actually be able to achieve it. Okay. Hello, Andrea. Welcome. Thank you for showing up and showing love. And congratulations. Let's see what's going on with my Libras. What is going on with Libra over the next week? What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? What is going on with my Libras? What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? Okay, we have the Devil card. So here with the Devil energy, you may be feeling obsessive about some things in your life. There are some things going on that you can't really stop thinking about, whether you want to or not. Some of you may be doing things that are detrimental, self-destructive in an attempt to no longer think about these things, in an attempt to no longer obsess about these things, in an attempt to suppress these things. But it's detrimental to your well-being in other ways. It's like you don't want to think about this stuff because it's hard, it's heartbreaking, etc., etc. But you're compounding the problem by doing these, engaging in these toxic behaviors in an attempt to distract yourself. It's not working as efficiently as you would like it to. There is something about the situation that you're not seeing. It's something that you do control. It's something you have control of, but you're not seeing it right now. You're too caught up in your head to be able to recognize how you can change this situation, because you can. You have the capability. You have the key. You just don't know it. And as long as you continue to indulge in these toxic behaviors, you won't ever know it. It will continue to be hidden from you. So once you were able to clear your mind more of this, even if just a little bit, perhaps a bit of this obsessing could lead to you having the understanding of what you can do to change the situation if you're doing it in a sober mind. But if you are not sober, it's going to be harder for you to see. But sometimes, when we obsess about stuff, eventually it'll lead us, like follow the bouncing ball, it'll lead us to an epiphany, to understanding that helps us improve our situation. But if you're just sitting there obsessing and just numbing it so you don't think about it, only for it to come back and you to numb it, and you're not going to reach that epiphany. You're stunting yourself. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life, Libra. What kind of energy will Libra encounter in their love life over the next week? What is going on with Libra in their love life over the next week? What's up with Libra? Libra, you have the Three of Pentacles. So if you are seeing somebody right now, you're actively putting time and energy and effort into developing this relationship. If you've already been seeing somebody and you guys have been having some difficult times, you're trying to work through it. You care about each other enough to try to work through it. I do think that there may be some toxic energy and some toxic behavior involved here, but I think that you both care about each other enough to try to work through it, and get through it together. However, this could be the very thing that's holding you back. There could be something about this situation that involves enabling. And it's like you're trying to work things out, and that's going well, but there's a certain level of something, some behavior, something being enabled by this. So it's like something that is detrimental to you and this person, or even both. It's like by continuing to work through this, the problem is still continuing. It's like you're trying to work through this, but it's like if you're with somebody who is an addict and has a very, very bad drug habit, but you love them so much, you are not trying to abandon them or leave them as they're struggling. You want to be there for them to get through this. But when they are raising hell about not being able to get their fix, you may give in, you know, because you want them to be happy. You want them to be happy, you want things to be okay, and if they just have their fix, then they'll feel better, and everything will be okay. That doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't. Now, there are some of you who could be in that scenario and there not be that enabling. Perhaps, you know, if your partner is going through some sort of addiction, perhaps they're in recovery and you're being extremely supportive of their recovery. Perhaps y'all are doing therapy together, etc., etc. Those of you who are single and not dating or anything like that, you're trying to work through your issues from your love life. You've dealt with a lot of messed up people. You've engaged in a lot of messed up behaviors that you're not proud of. You know, you're trying to take stock of everything and figure out, you know, what you could do better moving forward. And I think this is a healthy thing to do. Like, you don't want to keep repeating the same toxic behavior, and that's good. That is a clarity that can come through obsessing over things. Perhaps, you know, you keep thinking about this and you start to realize that, like, you really need to hammer this out for yourself so that you can move forward in a healthy way and not continue to repeat the same mistakes moving forward. Because this could be a pattern, and maybe you didn't realize it, but you're starting to realize it. Oh, my back. Oh. Alright. Let's move on to Scorpio. What is going on with Scorpio over the next week? What kind of energy will Scorpio encounter? What is going on with my Scorpios over the next week? What kind of energy will Scorpio encounter? What is going on with Scorpio? Let's see. Scorpio, you have the Four of Swords. So you may be kind of keeping to yourself. There's a lot going on inside your head that you're trying to work through. You got a lot of heartache and a lot of pain that you are attempting to heal from. You know that there's nothing else that anybody else can do about this situation. This is a situation you have to face on your own. This is a truth that you have to face separate from other people and work through separate from other people. This could come off cold to other people, but I don't think you really care because that is common. With Scorpios, it's common. It's common for people to misunderstand you and think you're being cold. You're just not expressing emotion. You're actually very, very, very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. And, you know, you have a lot of difficult emotions that you're working through that you're not trying to express. But I really think this is a good place to be. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life. Excuse me. Okay, what's going on in Scorpio's love life over the next week? What's going on in Scorpio's love life over the next week? We have the Seven of Pentacles here. So if you are in a committed relationship, you are evaluating things, you're reviewing things, you're trying to see if where exactly you are with your partner, where you have been and where you want to go, and just trying to figure out if this is what you want to continue to do moving forward. If you're dating, you know, you have multiple options and you're weighing them. You're trying to decide which would be the best one for you to follow up on. Those of you who are single and not dating, you know, I feel like it's somewhat similar, except you're going through the history of your relationships and trying to pinpoint how they have affected you so that you can work in how what happened in it and how that affected you that is having an effect today and that has echoed into your relationships. Because you may feel like there are certain things that you're doing that you weren't always this way, and it's creating problems now. So you're trying to figure out, you're trying to find the root of the problem so that you can fix it. I think that's a good place to be in. Alright, looks like you showed up just in time. Okay, let's see. See what's going on with Sagittarius. What is going on with Sagittarius over the next week? What kind of energy will Sagittarius encounter over the next week? What is going on with my Sagittarius? Card, please. What's going on with my Sagittarius? Sagittarius, you have the Six of Wands. So, anything that you may be fighting for, you will find success in one form or another. People are going to pay attention to you. Of course they are. You're going to raise hell until they do, right? You will not allow them to ignore you. Karen. I mean, that is kind of the vibe you have. Like, you're not going to let anybody screw you over, and you will go through the hierarchy if you have to. You are going to make sure that you're good and nobody's screwing you over. Nobody's trying to take advantage of you based on what they assume, what level they assume your intelligence is on. This kind of reminds me a bit of someone who is either an immigrant or, you know, a child of an immigrant. Don't bring political stuff in here. I'm not dealing with it. But like say if it's somebody who's an immigrant and they know their shit, they know the law. They know the law better than you do. And they know it because they want to make sure they know it. So they're not taking advantage of because they're immigrants. So they're not taken advantage of because they can't speak a language as well. They're going to make sure that they're not taken advantage of because people automatically think they're ignorant. So it kind of reminds me of that. You don't have to be an immigrant for that to happen. You could just be in a situation where people automatically think you don't know what you're talking about or don't know anything about the situation, and then bam, you whip it out and you know everything. You know it all. And you're going to get what you want. And you're going to get the recognition you deserve. They're going to be like, damn, they know their shit. Yes, you do. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Sagittarius. What is going on in Sagittarius's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Sagittarius encounter over the next week in their love life? What's going on in their love life? We have the Ten of Wands. So man, you got a lot. You got a lot going on. If you're in a committed relationship, you know, it kind of, it almost feels like a burden at this point, I think, because I think you got a lot going on just in general. And then perhaps there's some sort of chaos going on in your love life as well. And it's just a lot. You kind of feel like things would be a lot better if you didn't have to deal with this drama in regards to your love life. You may be feeling overburdened. There's some things that you can't really stop stressing over or thinking about. Some of you who are dating, or even single, you may be obsessing about a particular somebody. Perhaps you can't stop thinking about them for one reason or another, and it's just really bothering you. You want to stop thinking about them. That's the thing. That's why it's bothering you, is you don't want to think about them. You don't want to think about this. You don't want to think about this. And if you're single and not dating, like, you don't want to think about your love life. You don't want to think about how you're not dating and that you're single. You don't want to think about that. But it does bother you. It bothers you more than you want it to. But I think what's going on in your general energy will help distract you from this, because it's like you are going after things, you are fighting to make things happen, you're going to be successful, you know, even if it takes a while, like, you will be recognized for what it is that you're doing. But yeah, some of you may be feeling major pressure, the pressure of, like, say, being the head of a household and taking care of your family. Your partner may be putting a lot of pressure on you. Whoa, baby, you're a nag. Like, you could be stressing out, you're both having a hard time with whatever's going on, and they're telling you, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and it's everything that you already know that you need to do. So it's like they're not really helping, they're just putting more pressure on you, like a situation like that, basically. Awesome, thank you. And this is why I do general energy too. I just don't focus on the love life. Because, I mean, I typically say at the beginning, not everybody has love in their life, but most people come for love readings. So thank you for staying for the other. Okay, moving on to my Capricorns. Let's see what's going on with Capricorn over the next week. What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? What is going on with Capricorn? What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? Capricorn, you have the Seven of Wands. So you two may be fighting to make things happen. You are presenting your case. You may be arguing and defending yourself. Perhaps a lot of people are coming after you. A lot of people are coming after you, and you're really having to present your case. And you got to know your shit. Similarly to like what I just said with Sagittarius, except it's a little different with Sagittarius, because with Sagittarius, it's like you already know your shit. With Capricorn, it's like you may know part of your shit, but you need to do a little bit more research to put that oomph behind it, so people know that you know what you're talking about, so that you know that you know what you're talking about. Some of you could be actually super defensive, not in terms of explaining yourself, but in terms of like not allowing anybody else to get past a certain level with you. There's something that you may be trying to protect. Perhaps you got a project of some sort that you're working on, and it's something you're trying to hide from other people, and there might be other people all up in your shit, and so you're just trying to keep that like wall up, that guard up. You're going to interact, you're going to communicate and do all that stuff, but there's only so much you're going to say. Like, it's going to get to a certain point where you're going to keep shit to your chest. You keep stuff to your chest? No, not Capricorn. Sorry, you guys, I had to. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Capricorn. What's going on in Capricorn's love life? I'm hungry all of a sudden. What is going on with Capricorn over the next week? Capricorn, you have the Eight of Wands. Okay, those of you who may be in a committed relationship, you and your partner may be having a conversation about how you are going to move forward in the relationship, in life. You know, perhaps, and this doesn't have to be the case, but perhaps, you know, you and this person have been going through a difficult time, and it's like, okay, let's talk about what we're going to do moving forward. Are we going to stay and work things out, or are we going to go our separate ways? You know, this could also be a situation, if that's not the scenario, where you and your partner, you're just tackling life together and trying to figure out, okay, we've done this, what are we doing next? Where are we going next, you know? Those of you who are dating, you know, you may be talking to a lot of people, flirting, etc., but it's like surface level. You're not really letting them in too much. I think you mainly just kind of like the attention right now. Yeah, it'd be cool if you actually made a connection with somebody, but I feel like some of you are flirting with multiple people. Just for fun, not even necessarily because, you know, you're an attention whore, just to, like, I guess, you know, just have somebody to talk to, you know. Those of you who are single, nobody to talk to, not dating, well, that's the thing, you don't really have anybody to talk to. You're not really connecting with anybody. You're not really communicating with anybody. You have your guard up in general. I think you may be feeling a little negative about romance at this time and just not really interested in moving forward with any aspect of your love life. Um, just, you know, it's not a bad thing, but I do feel like an aspect of one's love life is dealing with the way you feel about it and also the way your history is, i.e. past relationships. You know, these are things that you do need to take into consideration because it's really good to have self-awareness. Nobody's perfect, you know, and many of us older adults, you know, we were not taught how to deal with emotions properly. We were not really taught how to communicate with each other respectfully. And so a lot of it is just trying to figure it out, you know, as an adult. And that's what I'm doing. And trying to help the younger generations figure it out in their youth so they don't get to our age and be like, I don't know, feel my emotions and losing my mind. You know? So it is very important to take the time to reflect and develop self-awareness on how you interact in relationships, because the way you interact in an intimate relationship is going to be different than the way you interact with, like, friends, family. You may have similar love, but the way you interact could be different. Primarily with friends, also with family, but like, you really see who people are when you live with them, so they may be aware of how you are, vice versa. But that could potentially be a problem when you're trying to connect with somebody, because they could just be used to certain behavior and accept certain behavior, whereas like you may try to connect with somebody else in the future and they're like, no, not here. So yeah, it's good to have that time to reflect on oneself. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's see what's going on with Aquarius. What is up with Aquarius? What's going on with Aquarius over the next week? What kind of energy will Aquarius encounter over the next week? What is going on with Aquarius? Aquarius, you have the Chariot. So you may have some sort of trip coming up that you are getting prepared for, planning, maybe booking a flight, getting the car fixed, whatever you need to do to prep. You may find yourself in a situation where you have got to move, literally, or just kind of move away from the situation. There's certain things that are no longer conducive to the well-being of your life, and so your well-being. And so it's like, it's time to move on. You've exhausted all your resources, quote unquote, in the current situation, and it's time to kind of look for other resources. Try to think of other things that you have not thought of before. I feel like there's a goal that you have been trying to reach for quite some time, and there are times when you feel like you have hit that goal, but then something happens and it's like, okay, I have to deal with this, but then I need to move on. Like, you find that the current situation you're dealing with is not a good situation, so you have to move on to the next one. And you may be figuring that out right now. It's very, very frustrating, because I think some of you just got to a place where you felt like you could breathe. Now you got to get going all over. But I think you're moving away from difficult situations. So even though it's like frustrating and stressful, etc., etc., you're moving away from difficult situations, from stressful situations. So if you would continue to move forward in this direction, it just would really, really blow up. So better now than later, while you can still like maintain some level of sanity. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Aquarius. Also, I do believe, if I remember correctly, that a lot of Aquarian energy over the past few weeks have been of kind of like King of Swords vibes, you know, kind of just being very strict and kind of detached and, you know, just handling business, kind of coming off cold to people and whatnot. And so some of you may be moving on from that energy, or maybe softening up a little bit. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Aquarius. What is going on in Aquarius's love life over the next week? Okay. I don't need half the deck. I just need one card. Okay. What is going on in Aquarius's love life over the next week? Aquarius, you have the Nine of Swords. So, you know, you're kind of stressed. You're stressed. You're stressed about your relationship. If you're committed, you're stressed about your relationship. You may be feeling insecure. You're thinking all crazy. Perhaps you suspect your partner of cheating. You're kind of driving yourself crazy. You're having a hard time sleeping because your mind's worrying. You know, it's really important for you to sit down and have that conversation. You're dreading it though. That's another thing. You're dreading having the conversation to confront the situation. But you can't stop thinking about it and you can't ignore it. Those of you who are dating, you may be feeling extremely insecure as well. And also as if this person is seeing other people. But if you're dating, you know, like, yeah, they may be seeing other people, but you're dating. You're not committed. So it's just kind of like, that's part of the whole dating thing. And I think it's just, it's stressing you out because I think some of you may really like the people that you are dealing with. And again, I think a conversation needs to be had about how you're going to move forward in this situationship. Because it's not quite a relationship, but it's not nothing. Those of you who are single, you're having a hard time. You're having a hard time. With the Knight of Swords energy, you know, Aquarius, you're having a hard time in your love life. But if you're single, you know, this is not something that is going on with the partner. This is something that is going on strictly inside of you. You're dealing with a lot of heartache from the history of your love life. And it's just really, really, really weighing you down. This could be a current heartache, or it could be something that you thought you moved past. Either way, it's eating you up inside right now. And the best way out is through. Try to find a way to transform this stress and anxiety into something that could be productive, even if you're like stress cleaning. I have a homie that stress cleans, and I'm like, damn, I wish I had that. I wish I had that vibe going on. My body has the opposite reflex. It's like, shut down. But now is definitely a really good time to work through these emotions. Journaling may be helpful. If you could actually... Oh, excuse me, that just hit me hard. If you are in therapy, you know, this could come up. It might be a good idea to discuss this topic this week. You know, I know I've preached a couple of times already about how important it is to work through your past issues in order to do better moving forward, in order for you to have a successful relationship in the future. It's very important to examine the past because nobody's perfect. And even if you were done wrong consistently by multiple people, nobody's perfect. So I don't doubt there are some things that you're not really proud of that you may have said or done. And this reaction would not have happened if there were not something inside of you that let it happen. So it's time to figure that out. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out what's going on inside of you that's making this happen. Now's the time. You know, it feels like the end of the world, but a shift in perspective can change everything. And so it may feel like the end of the world, but it could be the clearing of destruction from the past to make way for a whole new world. I can't help but think of Aladdin. A whole new world, a whole new relationship, like something that you didn't think would be possible for you to have. You know, people will look at other people's relationships and be like, oh, that's so beautiful, but I can never have that. And it's like that mindset will put you there. It'll put you in the state of, oh, I can never have that. Well, it'll put you in a state of not having it, you know. You gotta be open. You gotta be open to the experience, and let's get open to the potential of getting your heart broken. But you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? Isn't that the saying? Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's move on to Pisces. Okay, let's see what is going on with Pisces over the next week. What kind of energy will Pisces encounter over the next week? What is going on with Pisces? What kind of energy will Pisces encounter over the next week? Pisces, you have the Eight of Wands. So you may be doing a lot of talking this week, a lot of communication. If not just talking, lots of emails, lots of writing, lots of texting. There's going to be a lot of communication going on. It's not all good. It's not all bad either. You know, there's some stressful things that you will encounter, some annoying things, you know, but other situations will go over smoothly. You'll be able to move forward and make progress and be very happy about that. So even though you may be stuck in some areas, in other areas you'll be able to move forward. So try not to focus so much on the areas that are stuck, although you need to work on those areas. Try to focus more on what is working. Because if you focus too much on what's not working, what is working, you're not going to appreciate that. You're not going to see your success there. And you really need to see your success there instead of constantly wanting more from yourself. You're wanting so much more from yourself constantly that you don't see where you're winning. And you don't see where you have won and where you've been kicking ass for all this time. So try to take a moment to slow down. Just because things aren't working out doesn't mean that they're not working out. Sometimes things not working out are things working out. There's that saying, rejection is protection. You know, so maybe not everything is going the way you want it to, but it'll lead you in the direction that you need to go in. See what's going on in your love life, Pisces. What is going on in Pisces' love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Pisces encounter in their love life over the next week? Very interesting. We have the Four of Cups here, and the Four of Cups can involve not seeing the good, being so caught up in the negative that you're not seeing the positive. So if you're in a relationship, perhaps you and your partner have been having a very difficult time, and even though you guys are communicating and trying to work things out, you're feeling pretty jaded about it. So even if your partner is actually making attempts to do something to make things better and whatnot, you may be just so caught up in all the bad things that have happened that you're not seeing this at all. And this could be problematic, because if you are actually trying to salvage a relationship and you're not seeing that the other person is actively working towards doing this, then and you're not, you're just sitting there not doing anything, just expecting the same old shit to keep happening, then the same old shit will keep happening, because you're not seeing how somebody is working to change things, and that you're not doing your part. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Even like one person's been, I guess you could say, fucking up more than the other person, it's still a two-way street. You have to be open to working things out. And if you're so hurt that you're closed off like this, it's not going to work. You're not going to make it. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just true. And I think just in general, like if you're dating, I think just like all the things that have not worked out in your love life and in life in general, again, it just has you not seeing any potentials. If anybody's showing you any sort of affection or interest, you're just not seeing it. You're completely oblivious to it, and thus not even interested, because maybe if you were interested, you would not be oblivious. But you're just so apathetic right now that, yeah, you wouldn't even be able to tell if somebody was really into you. That's all across the board, man. Whether you're with somebody, dating, or single, like if you're single, you're just really, you're just feeling really negative about having a partner, having a love life. You're just very jaded with the whole concept of having a romantic relationship. You're just so caught up in the negativity that's been going on. You just completely, you don't see any benefits that could come from being in a partnership with somebody. Like, why even do that? It's going to cause more drama than anything else. It's just something else that can go wrong. And see, this mindset, it's definitely sending you into this victim mentality, and it's like you're digging your own grave here. Like, you are dooming yourself to this reality that you have so much disdain for. You're not even giving yourself a chance. And the thing is you think other people aren't giving you a chance, but you're not giving yourself a chance, unless you're not giving other people a chance. So it's a little bit different than the way you feel right now. A shift in perspective, small shift in perspective, can change a lot of things. So maybe that's just what you need. Maybe you need a small shift in perception. You know, I'm not saying that, like, once you are more optimistic about your love life, things are going to work out. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, you know, just because things haven't worked out this far doesn't mean that it won't. You know, life doesn't happen the way freaking story in storybook ways. You know, in those happily ever afters, the getting married to your first love and staying together forever. Like, okay, that does happen rarely. Like, you know, staying with somebody that you've been with, your first love or whatever. You know, you can be happy in a relationship long term, But from your perspective, it's like, no, those things aren't possible. It's not possible to find somebody that you love for it to last. Like, say if you had your first love and that was your mindset. You know, this is my first love. I want to marry them. I want to be with them forever. And then it doesn't work out, and that has you like, okay, that's a crock of crap. So love isn't real. But that's not necessarily true. It's just with the way society has been for a very long time, people have made commitments at very young ages. Very, very young ages. And that's why things don't always work out. You know, you're not the same person at 15 as you are at 25. You know, unfortunately, people have been in situations where they get married at 15 and unfortunately even younger, but luckily that is changing. At least here it's changing, but it's still like that in other places. Either way, okay. Wild tangent. You just need to shift your perspective. Things haven't worked out up to this point. Okay, learn from it. Learn from it. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes and carry the lesson moving forward. Try not to be so disenchanted. Okay, so those are your readings for the week. I hope they resonate for accuracy purposes. Thank you all for showing up and showing love. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you to everybody who shows up later and the haters. All of you guys, I appreciate you all. And I'll see y'all next week.